Speed in playing is something that often fascinates musicians and not just guitarists. Many players become obsessed with it because we tend to associate speed with virtuosity. We want to impress the audience with our physical ability, with how fast and effortlessly we can move, almost like an athlete. But that should never be the goal. Speed for the sake of speed is meaningless. Technique and speed must always serve the music. Always. Personally, I'd much rather go to a concert where someone moves me with their interpretation, their musicality, their emotional depth and understanding of the music, rather than with pure technical showmanship. So let's keep that in mind. Technique is always at the service of expression. Now, let's see what some great teachers and authors have said about speed. Hubert Keppel, in his Bible of the Classical Guitar Technique, says the following about speed. Although the importance of speed is often exaggerated, it is still a requirement and indispensable when it comes to well-trained technical proficiency on an instrument. You should beware of the following. Playing fast is predominantly required for short passages, which are far more common than long extended ones. And secondly, although the finger reflexes of both hands have to be equally developed when playing the guitar, and especially for the case when they are synchronized, the right hand takes on a special role regarding playing fast. Speed is not something you train by only playing fast or fast groups of notes. Slow, methodical, and successively constructive movements of the hands are required, even for the most rapid motions of the fingers. Playing fast requires you to be in a relaxed state. This doesn't mean that your muscle tone is non-existent. Without a certain amount of controlled tension, playing fast is simply not possible. In fast passages, your desire to play fast and accurately can easily lead to additional physical tension. This has to be avoided at all costs. Playing fast must always be accompanied by conscious and controlled relaxation. In Pumping Nylon, Scott Tennant writes the following. Control is more important than speed. If you can exercise control while playing, speed, when necessary, will follow easily. There are several general misconceptions about speed, especially in scales. The first one, without a certain amount of speed, one is not a good player. The fastest players are not necessarily the best players. Second one, speed is a goal rather than a tool. Speed is something we use towards a musical end. And the third, one must be able to play very fast for long stretches of time. Many students fail to recognize that the vast majority of scale passages in the repertoire requiring speed are only 1 or 2 measures long. So both Keppel and Tennant highlight the same essential ideas. That real speed comes from control, coordination, relaxation, and efficient movement. Speed doesn't mean pushing your fingers to their limits. It means training your reflexes so that everything feels effortless. Of course, to develop this fine motor control, we must train our fingers systematically. And while we all know the golden rule, to play fast, you must first practice slowly, it's also true that to truly play fast, you must practice fast at some point also. That's why today we will start with speed bursts. Short, controlled explosions of movement that train your reflexes and reaction time. We will begin on open strings, always playing on the same string, focusing on precision and relaxation. So let's look at speed bursts in the Bible of Classical Guitar Technique by Hubert Keppel. So he first does them 3 notes at a time, and we always have 2 fingers alternating at first, and he does it on the 2nd string. So I would advise you to practice this both with free stroke and rest stroke. Hubert also writes the same. So let's start with rest stroke, and let's start with I am I on the 2nd string. Now we will do M-I-M. So the goal here is to go as fast as you possibly can And please make sure that you've warmed up before doing these exercises. Don't just start the day with these exercises, because that can be very damaging on your hand and your fingers. So make sure that you are really well warmed up and you're trying to do that as fast as possible, and always after the last note you relax the fingers and the hand immediately. Now we will try the same with, although Huber doesn't write it, but let's do I, this combination. And then we'll do A. Now the most complicated one of them all, the most hard, is of course MAM, because we know that these two fingers, the alteration between them is very difficult because of our anatomy, and there rarely are good guitarists who can do MAM as well as MIM, but we have to practice it nevertheless. And then AMA. Now let's do a couple of those together with free stroke. Let's do IMI. And MIM. Now you can obviously also do this exercise on the bass strings while doing alteration with the thumb. But there's another thing that we're going to do, and that is the alteration between three fingers. So we're going to do the same exercise on the second string, but we're going to do it first AMI. And with free stroke. I know there are people who play their scales with three fingers always, either AMI or PMI. I'm not really one of those. I use the A finger sometimes when I need it to, because of string crossing. I incorporate the A finger, but I like to practice also this combination because it helps a lot. Definitely also with scales when you need to incorporate the A finger, and also with tremolo, of course. Now we have the same thing, but just one note more. So in slow motion we will be doing. And now as a speed burst. And with MIM. And with free stroke. Now Scott Tennant in Pumping Nylon also has speed burst exercises, very similar like this one, but before that he does it a bit more relaxed, let's say. So he proposes that we first do for a longer period 8 notes with I and M, and then the last group would be 16th notes. So it would sound something like this. And what he writes before is that you should practice this first with rest stroke and staccato. So as I right now did, so you're always after one pluck, you're preparing the next note, the next finger, and then after that you should try playing it legato with free stroke. And so on and so on. And he takes this further, always taking 2 more fast notes together with that last group of fast notes. Obviously, as I said, he also does the speed bursts like in Hubert Keppel's book, so that sounds something like this. Or of your guitar journey or like close to the beginning, and you're trying to improve your speed with the alteration of the two fingers, I would recommend going first with the approach of Scott Tennant. So doing first a lot of slow notes and then a couple of fast notes at the end. You can find all of his amazing exercises in Pumping Nylon. And also I would do it with the metronome, of course, and taking a tempo which is easy for you, and then trying it faster and faster as you progress, as you get comfortable in one tempo, then taking it a step further. Now, if you're a bit further along with guitar and you still want to improve on your speed and you want to do these really, really fast speed bursts, as we did from Hubert Keppel's book, then I would suggest definitely, once again, not suggest, I beg of you to first be really well warmed up, okay, for you to play at least half an hour before that, and then do the speed bursts. And also you can practice them also with the metronome, always taking it a bit further once you're very comfortable in a slower tempo. Now, developing speed takes time, patience, and many hours of mindful practice. Watching this video won't instantly make you play fast, and that's completely normal. These are exercises and ideas meant to guide you on your journey toward greater control, coordination, and speed over time. So stay consistent, stay relaxed, and the results will come. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to learn a bit more about rest stroke and what are some common mistakes and how you can improve it, we will link the video that we did a couple of months ago. We'll see you in the next one.